Batman, 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 Batman. Oh, hey Joel, how you doing?
Hey Stan, how's it going?
Oh, it's good.
What are you doing? You busy?
I was watching some Batman.
Cool.
Nice. Have a seat.
So, Sam, I was wondering if you could help me with some ideas for the story I have to write for class.
Huh. What do you got?
Well, so far I only have one line. It's not looking so good. So far I have the monster inside him brood, seething in dark penance. What do you think?
That sounds pretty cool.
I don't know yet.
Okay, let's talk about story structure. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sure, like every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Right, so that's the basics of it, right? Like, so it's kind of definitional. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it's kind of definitional. It doesn't really tell us anything about our specific story. So we need a more complex structure. Look, there's this comic I'm really into called The Watchmen, and it's this really complex story. And so what the author did to work it all out was he made a wall and he put the timeline of all the years across the top, and then he put pages of all the characters down the bottom. And then for each part on the grid, he wrote a page about what that character was doing at that time in order to kind of create just a general framework for the story.
That's cool.
It's like that Infinite Jest book we were reading in that lit class last year. Like, here's the map, right, of all the characters and all the relationships between them. All the characters and the relationships between them in that book.
Well, I don't want to get too crazy with my story. It's just a class, man. I was hoping you had some cool ideas or something.
Well, look, what I'm saying is that using a pre-planned structure makes writing easier. It's like a frame on which to hang the prose on. Here, like, let me show you. It's so easy. I've got a phone app that does this. Okay, here we go. It's got all these buttons for different story types, like, you know, romance and science fiction, mysteries, drama, whatever. It takes a protagonist for in situations for that character. It gives twists but leaves acting up to you. Here, let's try romance, right? So, two co-workers develop intimate relationships, but one of the characters isn't comfortable around children of which the other one has. Home is where you make it, but then a serious illness brings the relationships much stronger. Okay, here's a good one. Two workplace adversaries share an intimate moment at a local bar after work. One character refuses to talk about the past, while the other has been alienated from their family. Over time, they fall in love. Some things are worth fighting for.
That seems cliche. I don't know if I want that for my story.
Okay, let's try drama. Okay, you're walking quickly on a busy street. Your character receives anonymous gifts which make their wife or husband suspicious, but the gifts begin to take a turn. You're surprised and don't realize the implications of your situation until it's too late. Okay, here's one. You are a student at a high-end sports academy, and you're becoming withdrawn from the world, which the stress leads to secretly using drugs, and to escape you must embrace your inner child.
No way. Bullshit. None of those characters even come close to as compelling as the characters in Infinite Jest, like Don Gately or Hal. Yeah, even like Kaiser Sose, Kinte Kinte, and even Batman.
Hey, don't talk shit about Batman.
Hey, I'm just saying that Batman is way better than that phone tribe.
What I'm saying is we need a structure that is, you know, better than the plot generator, but not as, like, crazy as, you know, all of this. Have you ever heard of a story cube?
No.
Okay, so make a list of 8 characters, and we will put them randomly on each of the corners of the box.
Okay, how about a doctor? A gang member? Construction worker? A little girl? A pawn shop? owner, soldier's wife, an artist, and a pimp. Just cut them out.
Okay, so we're going to put all these in the jar and pull one at random. First is the little girl. We put her on one of the corners of the box. Let's try another guy at random. Oh, it's the artist. And we'll put him on another corner of the box. And then fill in the rest. So now the edges of the box, right, will be the relationships between the characters, right? So we need like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Things that they can happen between them.
Okay. So this is what I got. Stole something, contracted for a job, murdered by, sold drugs, had an argument with, made love to, is betrayed by, played baseball with, had identity mistaken, owes money, had kinky sex with, and blackmailed by.
Okay, so first we'll do this one here between the pawn shop owner and the doctor. And put all these in the jar and mix them up. Okay, sold drugs to. Okay, and let's try another one.
This is just craziness. We have the doctor stealing from the little girl, the pimp making love to the construction worker, the pawn shop owner getting blackmailed by the artist for maybe for contracting the pimp, the construction worker playing baseball with the artist, the pimp betraying the soldier's wife, the gang member having an argument with the little girl, the soldier's wife having kinky sex with the gang member, the pawn shop owner selling drugs to the doctor, the artist making the identity of the little girl, the construction worker owing money to the gang member, and oh yeah, the soldier's wife murders the doctor. You call this structure? This doesn't even make sense.
What we need to do is just get a theme from our paper. We'll do it the same way. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Okay, so what we're going to do is just organize it, right? And figure out, like, which parts go, like, in Act 1, Act 2, and 3. And we can have, like, a backstory, right? So someone could be betrayed by someone in the backstory. And we kind of, put these around to where they just kind of make sense for them to go.
This isn't art. This is paint by numbers.
Act 1, Scene 1. And there's this artist, Raphael Constanza. He is taking hallucinogenic drugs to help get inspiration for a statue he's working based on the ecstasy of St. Teresa. However, he gets some bad stuff, and he wanders out in the street and is almost hit by a car, but is saved by Jennifer Crichton, a shy girl biking to school. Jennifer is hit by the car in Raphael's place. Raphael mistakes Jennifer for an angel.
In Act 1, Scene 2, Steve Riddick is working at a construction site, tying rebars at fast speed. When he goes on his lunch break, he's confronted by Tony Charles and his crew. Steve owes Tony money for drugs that the buyer never paid him for. The buyer, an owner of a dirty pawn shop named Stinky Weasel with greasy hair, didn't pay him because his buyer, a doctor in Manhattan named Spencer, never paid Stinky. Steve says he will give Tony his paycheck at the end of the week. It's only a fraction of what Tony is owed, so Tony threatens Steve by sticking a gun in his face.
In Act 1, Scene 3, Patty Jones, who's been struggling to make ends meet since her husband was shipped off to Iraq in the army, gets out of bed with Unsound, the leader of a local gang. Unsound was her husband's friend, but always had feelings for Patty. Patty is openly using Unsound to avoid loneliness, and Unsound wants more of another relationship, but Patty tells him he's just a thing and reminds him that she's married.
Act 2 begins with Madame Enamour, a purveyor of the passion, a local brothel in town whose clientele is from the extreme ends of the economic spectrum, not the middle incomers. So, Madame Enamour is visited by Stinky Weasel, the pawn shop owner. She claims that he never paid Steve the money for the drugs and wants Madame Enamour to find out where it is. He gives her half her fee now and the rest when she delivers the info.
Act 2, Scene 2 begins with Steve Riddick, the construction worker, and Raphael Constanza, the artist, at the batting cages. Steve says that he got in over his head and really needs to borrow a lot of money. Raphael is acting crazy and claims he was visited by an angel and is therefore willing to help Steve.
In Act 2, Scene 3, Jennifer is unconscious in the hospital. Dr. Spencer cuts her open and removes her heart. No one will miss this girl. It's for the greater good. As she passes away, she remembers an argument she had with Unsound, the gang leader. He said, what the hell? Yeah, the writing is just a little rough. The gang leader where he said he loved her mom, but he didn't know how. She was so crazy on it.
Story sucks. Thanks, Stan, for showing me how Hollywood creates their formulaic crap. What a waste of time.
Worst story feed